Who do you want to become? The person you were yesterday, the person you are today, and the person you can become tomorrow are all very different. You may look at the person you were yesterday and feel guilt, remorse, anger, frustration, and pity. This may even apply to the person you are today. If your past and present circumstances seem unbearable, intolerable, or undesirable in any way, you can change for the better. Decide right now to create a better you for tomorrow. Invest in yourself. Learn as much as you can about the person you want to become. Welcome to Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast. I am your host, Jerald Simon. I am the founder of Music Motivation and the creator of the Cool Songs Club. Today's podcast is titled, Who Do You Want to Become? So I'd like to ask you these questions, and think about these questions as I ask them. 1. Who are you? 2. Who have you been? 3. Who would you like to be and eventually become? Those 3 questions have 3 very different answers, and the responses we receive from others and from ourselves when those questions are asked can be very intriguing, very insightful, very eye-opening, because the question of who we are has so many different answers. The question of who we were or who we have been in the past, and also the question of who we will be or become in the future, can actually conjure up within us so many different emotions. Those feelings that we have, either good or bad, about our past, our present, and our future. Because we are the summation of all of our past thoughts, past experiences, past feelings, everything we have done in the past, it has made us who we are today in the present. But everything we do presently will prepare us for who we will become in the future and what we will accomplish, what we will do, where we will go, the kind of life we will live and lead. See, these questions are paramount because these questions contain the answers. I'd like to read a paragraph from my book, Perceptions, Parables, and Pointers. And this is on page 27. It says this: Who do you want to become? The person you were yesterday, the person you are today, and the person you can become tomorrow are all very different. You may look at the person you were yesterday and feel guilt, remorse, anger, frustration, and pity. This may even apply to the person you are today. If your past and present circumstances seem unbearable, intolerable, or undesirable in any way, you can change for the better. Decide right now to create a better you for tomorrow. Invest in yourself. Learn as much as you can about the person you want to become. How does he or she speak? What do they do, wear, know that you don't? How do they live? What are their dreams, ambitions, plans, goals, values, etc.? Are you working on becoming who you want to become? What qualities and attributes do you need to possess? How will you obtain them? What changes could you make in your life that would be life-changing? Decide to be a better person. Make the decisions you need to make today to become the person you will become tomorrow. If you think about it, we all have this image of ourselves, who we think we are. And of course, there is the image of who other people think we are based on what they know, their interactions with us, what they have seen us do, what they have heard us say. People only know or can guess what they have been led to believe based on the experiences they have had with us. Again, these can be good experiences, these can be bad experiences. But our true selves, the people we know we are, when no one else is watching, when no one else is listening to us, that individual is someone we need to get to know better. Because we need to be honest with ourselves before we can be honest with others. You cannot be trustworthy with another individual if you are not trustworthy with yourself. We cannot help others set goals if we do not set goals ourselves. We cannot teach someone else if we are unteachable. You see, we need to work on ourselves. And the person we are today is someone we have been working on every single day of our lives, year by year, month by month, week by week, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. Every day we are changing, we are improving, we are progressing. We have the opportunity to figure out who we were yesterday and who we want to be today. Every day is a clean slate. It's an opportunity for us to start over. It's a brand new day. It's full of possibilities, and we can hope, we can have faith, we can do our very best today, but that means we need to learn from past mistakes. We need to learn from past experiences we have had. Now, we all have good days and we all have bad days, and we accumulate these good and bad days, and they turn into weeks, and then those good and bad weeks that we have turn into months and years, and then a lifetime goes by. Now, what we experience over a lifetime can help us discover ourselves. But we can rediscover ourselves every day. We can help those around us who may be lost, who may need a little bit of our hope, of our faith, if their faith or their hope is depleted. So we need to think about who we are and who we want to become. And part of that is, of course, having a vision. What do we want to do with our lives? What do we hope to accomplish? What do we believe we can learn? What talents do we believe we can develop? What habits, good or bad, do we believe we can adopt, we can drop, we can overcome, we can improve upon? What weaknesses do we have? Where are we falling short or not measuring up, either in our own minds or possibly in the minds of employers, neighbors, friends, spouse? What can we personally do to be better? Part of this is how we treat ourselves and how we treat others. I'd like to read a quote. This is one of the pointers from my book, Perceptions, Parables, and Pointers, and it says this. This is by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. And he says, treat a man as he appears to be, and you make him worse. But treat a man as if he were what he potentially could be, and you make him what he should be. You see, how we treat people will ultimately turn into how others treat themselves. If we treat someone as intelligent, and we know that they can solve any problem that is placed before them, they will view themselves as intelligent, and then they will act intelligently. But if we think someone is not capable, not very smart, if we think they're not very talented, or if we think they're not very good at much of anything, and we treat them as if they are less than what they could or should be, then they will fall short of becoming who they can become. And it's because of the way we treat them. If we are unkind to someone, that unkindness that we are enacting upon someone else will, in many ways, cause them to first be unkind to themselves. And if they are unkind to themselves or about themselves because of what we have done to them or what we have said to them, then they begin to spread that unkindness to others. It starts with their family. If someone has a bad day, others are rude or mean to them, it's like they have a chip on their shoulder. And then they start behaving either in a rude or unbecoming way. And what happens is they were happy at one point. They were positive. They were upbeat. And then that pessimism or poison slowly crept in and it overtook them. And what happens is they begin to be negative. They begin to say things they really don't mean, but they're saying them because someone else was unkind to them. And what happens is it's this negative ripple effect. But if we can change that, if we can be positive, if we can be kind about everyone, to everyone, then we start to change who we are. And that enables others around us to be who they should be. For the Music Within portion of this podcast, I would like to have us listen to Contemplation. Contemplation is from the album Sweet Serenity. Now that is a piano solo album of very gentle, soothing, flowing sounding piano pieces where the left hand has a lot of movement up and down the piano and it's very calm and very gentle. So contemplation, I want you to think about what the word means, contemplation, contemplating, to think about, ponder, but also think about how the music can help you think about how you can do a better job at discovering who you are, who you would like to be. For the Poetry That Motivates section of this podcast, I would like to read Beaten by Bitterness. This is a poem I wrote from my book, The As If Principle, Motivational Poetry. And this is what it says. I was badly beaten by bitterness, bruised by bereavement and chance, discarded by dignity, rejected in remorse, frightened by failure, and extremely off course. Life had taken its toll on me, an extremely amazing ride, the roller coaster of all roller coasters, and yet I felt empty inside. I felt sadly sweetened by loneliness, amused by the merriment of its dance, dismayed by despair, infected from its force, outcast and alone and overcome by remorse. But I will not let bitterness best me. I know I am better than that. I will improve each day, for now I know the way. I will stand tall every time I fall, and bitterness will leave me once and for all. Who are we? Do we allow ourselves to be bested by bitterness? Do we allow ourselves to be saddened by sorrow? Do we allow ourselves to be overcome by guilt to the point that we can't concentrate? Or do we instead prove that we will not allow bitterness to best us, that we can be positive and happy and upbeat? We will not allow sadness to destroy us. We all have sad times. We all need to be sad at varying stages in our lives. There's nothing wrong with sadness. But if you allow sadness to continue to creep in to your life, you become overcome by sadness and you succumb to the sadness. And then what happens is you don't feel good enough. Everything is depressing. Initially, sorrow is a wonderful healing process. It's good to be sad to help us be prepared for the times when we can be glad. But too much of anything will at first overwhelm you, then it will consume you, and eventually, if not protected against, it can destroy you. If we want to determine who we are and who we would like to be, we need to figure out what we would like to learn in life, but we also need to figure out what we would like to avoid in life. Now, you cannot avoid difficulties. Everyone has difficult times. You cannot avoid sadness. Everyone experiences sorrow. There are things that we cannot avoid no matter how hard we try. But we have so much we can do to counteract whatever difficult and dark despair may come upon us. We can improve our positivity. We can say kind things about ourselves. We can say kind things about others, to them and to others. We can improve. We can progress. And how we do that is writing down a list of what qualities or characteristics we would like to work on. You can think of them as virtues. Benjamin Franklin would often write down what virtues he wanted to work on. And he came up with a list of 13 all-encompassing virtues that he felt he was either lacking in these areas or he needed to do more to improve and get better. So think about what you can do today. Come up with a list. Write down, it doesn't need to be 13 virtues, but write down virtues, qualities, characteristics that you would like to have. Honesty, dependability, integrity. You can write down different things that you would like to work on. Patience, frugality. Now, many of these, it feels as if I'm quoting Benjamin Franklin's 13 virtues, but a lot of these you can come up with a list of what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and then you can bridge that gap because you can make those strengths stronger and you can turn those weaknesses into strengths. But first you need to discover what they are. That is part of discovering who we are. Finding out what we do that we enjoy, finding out what we do that we don't enjoy, and having an honest and open conversation with ourselves. When you look in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes. See into your soul. Ask yourself if you are content, where you are in life, what you are doing, if there are any areas in your life where you could improve or be better. Maybe we need more patience. Maybe we need to demonstrate more kindness. Maybe we need to be more understanding, have more empathy, have more sympathy. Maybe we need to not be so quick to be angry or upset. We need to be more forgiving. We need to apologize and ask for forgiveness. There are so many ways we can improve, and everything we do, those qualities and characteristics about ourselves that we are attempting to improve upon and work on each day, what we do every day will help us see a bigger picture of who we can become. So come up with a list today and start improving and working on who you are right now. You can't change who you were in the past. So don't worry about the mistakes you've made in the past. We all have made mistakes. We all need help. Some of us are still paying for those mistakes because they have carried over to our present situation. But focus on who you are right now and who you would like to be. And as you do that, you will have a greater understanding of how you can change your own life. And in the process, you can change the lives of those around you. It's about having a positive perspective. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about caring about those around you. And it's also about how you treat others and how you treat yourself. Thank you so much for listening. I hope these ideas and thoughts have helped you think a little bit about what you could be doing or what you would like to do. No one is perfect. I am far from perfect, and I have so many shortcomings. I have so many failures. But I'm trying to learn from them. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to do the very best I can and be better today than I was yesterday. And I think that is one of the main themes that I try to focus on in this podcast, is how we can try to do our best and be our best and help those around us be their best as well. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to have you. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message. You can contact me at Jerald Simon, JeraldSimon, at musicmotivation.com. You can visit my website, musicmotivation.com, or my site, coolsongsclub.com. But I'd love to hear from you. You can connect with me on any of the social media sites out there, at Jerald Simon. But I'd love to connect with you. And if you have any questions or if you have any commentary about any of the podcasts, please feel free to reach out to me. Send me a message. If there's something you would like to have us discuss or talk about on the podcast, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear your suggestions, your comments, your questions. I'm sure I probably won't have all the answers, or maybe not any answers at all, but we can discover together, we can learn, we can grow, and we can do everything we can that we can be better today than we were yesterday. Thanks again for listening. Hope you guys have a great week. See you. Bye. Subscribe to Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast with Jerald Simon, to receive updates about each new weekly podcast. Every Monday, a new podcast is released to help motivate and inspire individuals to learn, to grow, to do, to be, and become the very best they can become. These are all motivational messages that inspire men and women of all ages to do and be their best, to set goals, to work on improving who they are and who they would like to become. Thank you again for listening. Connect with us on social media to become part of the conversation as we all work together to motivate each other to do and be our best. Thanks for listening to Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast. I am your host, Jerald Simon, and I am grateful to have you listen to this podcast. Every Monday we come out with a brand new podcast, and you can listen to it on any of the podcast streaming sites available. Just search for Music, Motivation, and More, the Positivity Podcast with Jerald Simon. Any of the music that I've shared in these podcasts, you can listen to. All of my music is available on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon, and any streaming site available. You can also check out my music books at musicmotivation.com, and you can find my poetry, self-help, and motivational books available from Amazon.com, from Barnes & Noble, and from all different online shops and stores. If you have any questions about the music that I create through my company, Music Motivation, you can learn more at musicmotivation.com, and you can visit my website, coolsongsclub.com, to learn more about how I create fun, cool piano music that helps motivate piano students to want to play the piano the fun way, especially during their teenage years. I'd love to have you check that out. But thank you again for listening. Please feel free to connect with me on any of the social media sites out there. You can watch my YouTube videos on youtube.com/Jerald Simon. You can connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all social media sites at Jerald Simon. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, keep up the great work and have fun. See you guys. Bye.